Welcome back. It's Stu Newsweek, where we discuss the biggest stories that made the headlines in the week. President Bola Tinubu has given his assent to the amended National Student Loan Bill. This legislation is designed to provide financial aid to Nigerian tertiary students, facilitating access to higher education across the nation. The bill, which was initially signed in June 2023, has now been amended to further enhance its reach and effectiveness. The signing ceremony held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja was attended by key figures in the government and education sector. President Tinubu emphasized the administration's commitment to ensuring that no Nigerian student is deprived of quality education due to financial constraints. The amendment bill aims to establish a robust framework for the provision and recovery of student loan. I still have my guest in the studio. Let me have what stands out for you in this new law. You know, some will say that what they're really taking out is the fact that the students don't get to pay back this loan until they have the job.
Well, this Student Act of 2024 is, repeals the one that was previously passed in 2023. Yes. Well, it's actually a testament to the functionality of the feedback process. Stemming from the first act that was passed in 2023. It's in tandem with reality, but as in everything, there has to be implementation. That's always been our problem. We have fantastic laws, but problem is always with implementation, and that's where we usually get it wrong. What stands out for me in this bill, the fact that it includes those artisans, and also the fact that it looks at, it has a governance structure, a board. Because before there was no board, so the day-to-day administration, the oversight, obviously the Minister of the Senate Committee on Education and the Minister, obviously, but then there has to be a board which also comprises of the various ministries and the MDAs, relevant MDAs, and that's also helps, let's say, make the law comprehensive and more encompassing. And also the issue of guarantors. That was a very serious problem for a lot of people. The issue of guarantor was a very serious problem for a lot of people because a lot of people didn't have access to the stringent, requirements for guarantors, and the complaints here and there. But now I think it adopts a more technologically driven model, in terms of getting, what they call it, in terms of getting verified by NIN, the whole electronic footprint and the rest of that. So it's actually revolutionary, but again, implementation, very, very important. And then there's a part of the act I am very, very concerned about. I don't know, maybe as the day goes by, maybe we can get it very clear. The clause the section that allows for reinvestment of, or will I say investment of proceeds from the available funds without having setting a threshold. As again, when we are making policies, you look at the environment we find ourselves in Nigeria. For instance, you can say, okay, 10% of so and so profits made. But there's no percent. You just say the board can decide to invest. First of all, investment is a risk. The issues of corruption, issues of diversion of funds. So these are salient issues that needs to be addressed. But obviously, it's a product of legislation. So let's hope that with stakeholder engagement, more scrutinization of the act, and other, aspects of it, we'll find out that we'll see that, maybe more amendments would come in to tackle those issues. Obviously, no law is perfect, and as the time goes, law is dynamic. It's changed over time to accommodate the issues. Then also, very, very important, the issue of repayment. Sustainability is very, very key.
Yes.
Yes, you have the issue of investing to get this thing, but it can't cover up for everything. And we also have the issue of employment. You see, this is where things like this are tied to the economic outlook of the country. If people don't get employed or the employment figures are terrible, these policies like this become more of a bottleneck than a solution to a problem, because people will keep on saying, oh, I've not gotten employed, I've not gotten employed. So how then do you recoup? After 2 years, you're saying, and again also identity issues, because they are saying, the act is saying that businesses that employ people have the onus to inform the board that this so person is employed. But how many businesses are registered in Nigeria? How many businesses with biodata and the rest of that? Again, if you're self-employed and they find out, it's all about, and they find out what mechanisms have been put in place. But I think from my understanding, because it's still a fairly new act, but my understanding is that the board will sit and draft out the workings of the program. But again, implementation, very, very essential, very, very important.
Yeah, I know you've raised these concerns of, how it's going to work and all of that, but what would you suggest based on to ensure efficient disbursement and as well the repayment process, and as well how not to mismanage or abuse this loan?
Okay, well, I think I heard the Minister of State for Education also saying that, saying that in terms of payment of the tuition aspect of the loan is paid directly to the school, because the first act didn't cater for was only catering for tuition, and federal universities, they don't pay tuition; they are tuition exempt. Only state universities. This one also caters for both tuition and other associated costs with schooling. So it's going to be paid directly to the school, which is perfect, which is fine, which is good. But again, issues of data collections, issue of data, probity within our, our society. You need to have, the Ministry of Communication, Digital Economy to also key into this. Liaise with the minister, maybe a committee or something of the sort. Sit, not something big, sort among ministers on technical people sit, ensure that whatever data that is collated from the applicants is something that can be viable in the next 5-10 years, and then that would ensure that obviously it's not going to be perfect, but at least that would ensure that some certain at least 70 to 80% success ratio can be guaranteed. You can also bring in experts from countries who have gone through this same system and get
all right.
Of it.
Okay, so, thank you, Superior. Let's move to our final story.